Hello.
So you can start the class at 7:10.
Yeah, hello. Umesh, shall we start now?
Yes, we can start the class.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Let's start now. Good evening to everyone. Okay. So your portal related issues, Umesh or somebody else is going to look up to. Please address Umesh. You can just look into this.
Yeah, so Lohit Sagar, you can drop an email to edl@thetexla.com about the portal. Okay. So team will check your account status.
Please mention in chat also so people can, easily catch up. Fine. So yesterday I'm going to share my screen now. Okay, so wait for a minute. Hold on, we are going to start now. Next 1 or 2 minutes. Because just we are opening the application. Just 1 or 2 minutes once. Right, so we can start now. Wait, let me just do this. So you can see just we are copying server name, okay, and connect and go to Power BI. So next we are going to understand in terms of how actually you can connect your SQL database with the Power BI, which is connected to Power BI services as well as Microsoft Fabric. So that is also important to understand. Okay. So blank report. Here you can see we have option. Uh, yeah, by default, actually you have some few buttons which you can use. Under the data also, you'll find SQL Server. And if you go after more, you can find more databases, right? So earlier we have seen that we have all the options in terms of popular databases, even CRM or different applications you can find. That is hundreds of applications we have, right? So since SQL Server is the ecosystem of Microsoft, it's a applications product of Microsoft. So it's very much useful. It's not only about Power BI or Fabric, but same time similar to, okay, sorry, not this one, SQL Server. Yeah, this one. So similar to SQL Server, you have Azure SQL Database. Both works similar way. Okay. So we are going to use now SQL Server Database connector. And just we are going to give a server name. And here we have option for parameter also, but that's fine. You can leave that. And here we have connectivity mode, import and direct query. So this is really interesting to understand. So when you use import mode in terms of any database or data source allows you to use import or direct query. So import means you are going to import the data. Okay. So physically, data is going to store into your Power BI desktop. Physically in the sense like offline, sorry. I mean to say offline, it's going to store data in Power BI desktop. Same data can be used for Fabric, Power BI services, Azure, everywhere, right? So this is a base part, like, source part, like how you can handle in terms of SQL Server. Earlier, we have used just Excel data and CSV files, right? And website. So box office mojo example, this we have gone through. Next, let's understand quickly about the SQL Server database, how we are going to connect and what is the difference. So you didn't encounter that, when we are using data source such as SQL's Excel sheet or CSV file or website, you are not encountering these options, import and direct query. So let's understand what is the difference between these two, because this is really one of the, again, very critical factor. So import mode means whatever you have data in a particular database, uh, different tables you have in database, right? So those data is going to store into Power BI desktop if you use import mode. Same time, if you use direct query mode, then data is going to stay in SQL itself, SQL Server itself, and still you will be able to use Power BI features. For example, DAX queries. So yesterday we were going through just some basics, some examples of DAX functions. So those DAX queries you can use on SQL database, even though you don't have the data available in Power BI desktop, but you have just a connection. So everything remains in SQL Server, but you are just using, uh, as a connection to calculate everything in Power BI, and source is not actually available here in Power BI desktop. So now understand the some complexity here. So what happens? I have not explained about a star schema or snowflake schema, which is really important for data modeling, right? So most of you, or I don't know, some of you might be knowing what is data modeling, what is a star schema, what is snowflake, or you might be not knowing. But I assume we have very different audiences. So some of the people might be familiar. So quickly, I just want to tell you that when we say a star schema, that means in center you will have, in center it's going to be uh, fact table, and it's going to be surrounded by, circled by dimension tables. Okay, so what is a fact table and what is a dimension table? We need to understand. So fact table is something which we have transactional data where you'll have large number of columns with numeric values, all sort of a uh, granular transactions, granular, or you can say in layer of grain will have transactions. So now understand what I mean in terms of grain or granularity. So basically, interviews, people are going to ask about what is grain or granularity. So grain is something basically the hierarchy of transaction. So assume that when you do the UPI transaction, so UPI transactions every milliseconds, or you go next level in terms of layer, uh, it's going to be two depth, right? Milliseconds and say so general purpose like a second, minute, hour, day, you have week, you have month, quarter, year, right? So this is a hierarchy. So now you see on top you have like year, and bottom for general purpose you can consider like a seconds. Definitely you can get into more deeper, uh, right? So that's not much relevant or important here, but up to second level is fine. Even up to second level is important because for general purpose dynamics of reporting or analytics, seconds are okay, but when it comes to research, when you get into research level of project, then even you will find next layers, actually many layers you'll find below seconds as well, right? So that is a grain. Okay, so that grain how we use, that means that hierarchy how we use in terms of transactions of data. So you store the data, mostly you may encounter in terms of date wise. Every day, whatever transactions are happening, by that actually you are calculating all the other KPI or metrics. But there is a definitely various industry which use even second, minute also, right? So that may be very few or very specific. Uh, but generally, for general purpose, most of the businesses use date wise. or day wise, you can say, or date wise. Both are same. Same in the sense a day is just about 24 hour. A date is also 24 hour, right? So date wise, we use or store the data in our database. So that is a grain. Now, same date, as I said, like it can be stored second wise, minute wise, date wise. Next layer you have like day wise. Sorry, day wise is date only, but let's say weeks. In a year, you have 50 to 53 weeks, right? So weeks wise also you can store month wise, you can store uh year wise, quarter wise, and then year wise, right? So this is the all hierarchy you have in terms of grain, and which is really important in terms of when you design a database, that how your data is going to store in terms of this grain. And for so mix, this is a kind of like everything is a mixed here, right? And when we are using data platform, so it's not like you are just using SQL database. You are using Power BI for visualization, that could be various other application. You are using SQL database, that could be again various other databases. uh, so these are the two core tool you are using for data platform. So Fabric has these two application, which is like it works like as a core or base of a data platform. Then next you have Python or PySpark. So yet still we need to get into Python and PySpark. But before that, even Power BI and SQL are related to certain features, which is really important for data platform. And when we complete this end-to-end project, I'm going to use basically various data sources. So some data actually will be getting from SQL, some data you will be getting from Excel sheet, some data we will get from CSV. I'll keep it simple. That's fine. But at the same time, if time allows, I'm going to use even API, whichever you know, like some APIs also I can use, REST API and all, to fetch the data from different sources. So that is also one part, but that is again very beginner level or beginner to mid level activities only. But advanced level, you have various things. Many things are there. So since we are, covering up basics of Fabric and just going after one after another component, and important features for considering all these components, right? So server name I have given, that is just my name, and here import mode, as I said, it's going to store the data. Let's check what happens when you click OK. So you have to sign in, and then you can just connect. So yeah, here we are facing some issues. So let's see. So here already many are there. Probably because of this we are facing issues. I'm going to clear all, delete. Oh, it's all actually we have to delete. So it's going to be press. So these are some common issues you may face, but you should know how to fix it. So that's why we are just cleaning this data source setting and then we'll try. Everything's clean now. So close it. Now let me try SQL Server. So last time we have gone through this Microsoft account. This time let's go for Windows. Let's see how is my credentials. Yes. So you can see now it's connected. So don't worry about some glitch or error. That is just little bit you have to do brainstorming, do some research on Google here and there. We'll find the solutions. 1 minute. So you can see whichever table we are selecting that we are getting here. So it's all loaded. So initially it may take some time, but now it's all loaded. So you can see whichever table we have, we can select. Then go for transform data. This is basically for import mode. Same time, even we are going to understand direct query also, which is very critical when you are handling a small to mid-size data or even large database. So that is the reason this part is important for data flow. So you can handle the same thing using the Power Query, which is very much equivalent of data flow, right? So that's fine. Here also you have SQL Server. You are going to get the same options what we have done just now in data flow also. So there is a reason we are spending some more time here to understand the critical factor about some basic level of project in Fabric. So these are the options actually very important. Okay, and that is what actually say when it comes to workloads, storage, and all. That's fine. We that is also important to understand. But this is a real time actual activity you are going to perform. So again, I am not getting into too much depth, but at least conceptually or practically, whatever best case possible for me, I'm just using those options for you. So now see all these tables you have, you can do the data cleaning. It's all clean data, so you'll not find anything to clean. But if you want, you can do it in terms of using these options, transform, add column. Again, further help support whatever I have gone through. You have documentation, which is very simple and easy. Okay, so path learning curve is very simple and easy for that is for Microsoft Fabric in terms of data flow and even Power BI is also quite simple only, but it's not like okay, it's only simple, but you have all sort of flexibility in terms of using different tools. So start easy, uh, go to mid-level, then explore whatever tools available in Power BI. So it's all technical ecosystem is available, right? Fine. So this is the data we have in SQL Server, and now we are loading here in Power BI. Close and apply. So this is going to load in Power BI. Okay. But the next part we have like uh, it should not load. It should stay in SQL only, and we can perform everything uh, basically in Power BI, but the data stays in SQL Server itself. Okay. So while using SQL Server, Fabric, or any of these tool, challenges, issues, errors will come at every step, as in when depends how you are using and all. But I will tell you, don't get frustrated by those things. It's a very common thing that, and we should welcome that, whatever error or issues comes. So that is the reason you will be, getting evaluated as a, like, I mean, so when it comes to like potential recruiter, how they actually consider the, a perfect candidate for a particular role, somebody who has experience in terms of solving problems. So as much as you are facing problem in terms of exploring, learning this, you enjoy it and try to fix it. Be passionate that okay, you have to fix. You don't have choice. This is the problem. You have to fix it, and then you will get confidence also, and that is what it's respected by potential recruiters. Even in interview also, if you have experience in terms of solving problems, whatever errors, issues you are facing, that is what you need to explain them, and then you're all good to go with good job, right? So never frustrate in terms of getting issues in terms of SQL or Power BI or Fabric or anything. Just think about that. Okay, why you are getting that problem, how you are going to fix it, and that thought process itself is very strong motivation mindset to be a strong developer, or basically stand out in crowd. Okay, so Here you can see the data, as I said, like it's going to store in Power BI desktop. So, yes, right. So this data stores into Power BI. Now, next, I'll go for, instead of doing same thing here in Power BI desktop, this time I'll do it in Power Query. Both are same. End of the, like after Power Query, we are loading into Power BI desktop only. So it should be very much close in terms of using both application side by side. Okay, but it's just a backend tool for Power BI desktop. So if you are very good in terms of using this backend tool, then even front end like Power BI desktop is going to be easy and you very much helpful in terms of your projects and all. Okay. So here new source. Now here actually we are going for SQL Server. Already we have connection, but let's see. No. So we are not getting by default, right? So we have to give the server name and this time we are using direct query. Database name is optional, not required. Advanced option is also there, but it's optional. Requires, I mean, you can just write some SQL statement and queries. Uh, but yeah, I mean, if you want, you can just try this part also using your documentation. You can just give it a try. And then if you have some questions or doubts, you can ask me in chat. You can let me know. If you want, I can show you that example also. Okay. So first priority is that, show you both of the example and differences. Then further actually, what is the ideal case? In which scenario you should use import mode and in which scenario you should use a direct query. That is also important. So few critical factor about optimization. So related to optimization, mostly interviewers, company, like when you are looking after job, whether you are beginner or experienced, now things are changing very dynamic way. That 2 3 years or 5 years back, people who had 3 years 4 years experience, now that kind of people are basically uh now you can assume no 2 3 year experience is considered like a you are fresher. And that is how you have to prepare. That you don't need to think like you are a fresher. You need to think like you have some good exposure on working on certain different kind of project, understanding the business, understanding the overall factor, cost factor, optimization factor, storage related things. All these ecosystem, if you are familiar, you are gem. Node is going to, like, this job is in so much demand as of today that if you know these things, easily as a fresher also you can get 10 lakh, 15 lakhs, easily you can get it. That is also potential, but I mean, definitely that's not easy for anyone. Like everyone, it's a tough to, but at the same time, if you see the some like it may be like demotivating, or some people may feel like different way. But how what kind of effort people are putting in their academics, right? Either it's a BTech, MTech, or whatever they are doing, right? They are putting so much effort, like they will never have time for anything. Most of the time, you know, I mean, they're busy with their, academics stuff, right? A serious guys, a serious people are, you'll find they'll never get time in their BTech or MTech and all this. But success factor is not that easy for them also as of now, or in last a few years, things are, changing, but a smart work. So you are very good in terms of all the way in your academics. Definitely, you have chances to be. very much successful in industry. But same time, probably may struggle to get opportunity also. That is also happening in last 2 3 years. It happened because even we have seen that IIT Bombay got just 35% placement. IIT Bombay graduates got only 35% placements, I think 2 years back, right? So then that is one of the top engineering college in India. So what about the other people? So it's not like everyone will face the same scenario, but if somebody who's in top, they can face this kind of scenario, then definitely everyone else can also face. So think is different scenarios are there. Why they got just 35% placement? That is really one of the, like everybody was, shocked, like, how come, how come actually IT Bombay got just 35% placement? Mm. Everyone was shocked because most of the toppers in IT JEE, they prefer to join IT Bombay or Madras, something like that, right? So that is a fact. But at the same time, smart people are getting opportunity, whether you have whatever background you may have, doesn't matter. Smart people are getting opportunity. So be passionate in terms of exploring the whole ecosystem. Don't think classical way that, okay, you are very good in terms of programming in database, that's sufficient. No. Learn cloud, know the cloud, how it works, what at least what basics you should know in cloud computing. That is definitely it's mandatory for everyone. In terms of technical jobs, everyone should know that. That is very basics now. Then whichever domain you choose, whether it's a data platforms or cyber security or various other domains. But when it comes to demands, AI analytics definitely have ace for next 5 to 10 years. For sure. In India, it's going to be next 20 years. It's not for US, definitely next 5 to 10 years, all about analytics or AI is going to be in demand, including cybersecurity, cloud computing. But when it comes to India, assume double because these factors differs based on material condition. As I said, like I think first or second day itself, that as of today also, many companies in China or Japan or even so for that matter in US also will find few. That strength is not there in US in terms of completely automated companies in large numbers. But in China, it's a very huge. Too many companies are there that there all the operations are completely automated. There is no human being is working over there. And some companies are there in Japan also. But when it comes to US, since US has very less exposure in manufacturing is very, I mean, very less exposure they have. So for that reason, probably we'll find some example. Some companies you may find they are following the same, but China is really I mean, they are literally telling there is no opportunity for manufacturing. It's all automated. It's all about robots. No human being is involved. In major companies, you can see like Xiaomi or BYD, or many companies are there. They're telling nobody is there who is working as a human being in their manufacturing units, right? So that is just a beginning. It's all happening. So thing is, tomorrow, I mean, same scenario to happen in India, it may take probably another 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, right? Or even for rest of the world, like that is not a facility for even Europe. In Europe, you will not find such companies that completely automated. Everything robot, everything happens, automated way with help of AI and robotics. those kind of companies not there. Hardly you may find, or rare case you can find in Europe. So it's about the rest of the world also. So definitely these three countries are very when it comes to scientific innovation. China is definitely now leading many ways in most of the technologies, excluding few critical technologies like semiconductor or some extent even AI or some IT products and all. US is leading, but those fields are also for China, it's not like China is very far from US. China is very close, and most of the experts in the world says that in any technology, if China enters, that means they are going to dominate it. And they did it for most of the emerging technologies as of today. China is number one, most. And now actually they have, they are competing into semiconductor, they are competing into, AI. You will see after 5 years, and I think every student should read what is basically AI objective or AI plan, a strategic plan for, in terms of China or US or even Europe. For that matter, you can definitely study for India also. You'll find the kind of plan they have, most likely you'll find after 5 years, China is going to dominate in AI also. They will not leave, I mean, they're going to leave US far behind in AI as well. That is the kind of actually they have set their goal. And same way, if you go after all other technologies, emerging technologies, in last 5, 10 years, they have beaten. It's not only US but or Europe, whole world in every technologies. So almost 90% technology in 90% technologies, emerging technologies, China is number one as of today. So thing is already too much advanced. Okay. And as a developing country like India or rest of most of the world, probably, uh, for us or rest of the world, it may take years, like 5 years, 10 years to catch up. Uh, I mean, to be not competitive, but to catch up that, competition, basically, it may take a lot of time, right? So different factors are there. So as a Indian, like not everyone is going to get job in US, not everyone is going to get job in Europe or some other countries. Most of the people is going to work in India, right? So if you have to work in India, then you need to know that what is a futuristic plan for India in real term. So in real term, you don't need to worry at all. Next 5 to 10 years, there is 100% good scope for all the people who are into technologies. But some smartness is required, like not a classical approach. A smart people is going to be successful. Rest all may be struggling here and there. So yeah, fine. So here now we are using 1 second, sorry. So this time I'm using direct query, which is going to be, as I said, like it's not going to load into Power BI desktop or Power Query. So let's check that. So I'll choose some other database, let's say company DB hotel bookings. Yes. So it's loaded. Okay. Close and apply. Mm. See, this table is not visible here. This table cannot be shown because it is not in import mode. So only the tape, see all the tables we have, all the tables we are using for SQL Server. So these three tables you can access because it's on import mode. And when it comes to this table, we cannot use it. We cannot see here because it's not loaded into Power BI desktop. It's there in SQL Server itself. Okay. So further, we are going to understand the some interesting factor when you use direct query and import the see when it comes to import and direct query, this is really important. But the further interesting thing you have like how actually you are going to refresh the data when you delete a particular column in SQL. Uh, when you delete a particular column in a table or particular number of rows, columns or rows, I mean to say just when you do some changes, right? So how that is impacting in Power BI? So when we say in Power BI, same approach is going to be in data flow in Fabric. Okay. So for learning purpose, we are using offline all those things, but it's all there in Fabric when you use the data flow Gen 2. It's very much relevant. Okay. Even in terms of implementing a refresh and all, you will find out that what is actually preventing in terms of quick refresh. So if you have huge data, it may take minutes, hours time to refresh the data itself. But when you use a direct query instead of import mode, then what is the difference actually? That's what we are going to check here. So that is again very basic, right? But next level, you have objective that you should try to use terabytes of data and use it, import mode and even not terabytes, but try with some GBs, let's say 10 GB, 20 GB, 100 GB, 500 GB, like that. You can try. I will help you in terms of getting those data sets. Um, so that's time consuming. Downloading itself, it may be taking so much time. So, or you can write the Python program to generate the data for 100 GB, 10 GB, 20 GB. That is also, if you're good into Python programming, you can just do that. Any programming, it's not about only Python. Using programming also, you can generate data for 1 GB, 2 GB, 5 GB, and so on, right? in batches, maybe in one. Okay. So there is a tricky scenarios again to generate those data in terms of size. Okay. So handling those size when it comes to 500 GB or more, or let's say more than 10 GB, then differences you need to, basically focus. You need to focus at, closely you need to focus at what is the basically impact or how impact in terms of actually cost. As a basically analyst, it's not about just to create reports and dashboard. People is going to judge you based on the cost factor also. How much money you have spent in terms of creating a report and concurring cost, how much it's going to incur, right? So day wise, monthly, how much cost, you know, uh, 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 I mean, how much cost will happen for a particular dashboard when data is, let's say, 10 GB, data is 20 GB or 500 GB. So that optimization itself is one of the most critical factor in industry because those money is basically huge. The company which have large number of transactions in terms of data, for them, most critical factor is that how optimized way they are going to use this data for analytics purpose. So that a single point itself is a huge opportunity for anyone to just focus and get into such a depth level that they can optimize such a way those data and reporting all together very effective way could be huge opportunity in industry. It's already there. People are getting 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs uh, package. People have, some advanced level of optimization skill in SQL database or when you say like data platform. So that is there. It's very much there. So those optimization skill is related to SQL database in advanced SQL. It's not about basics. When you get into next level, advanced level of SQL, then you will encounter those things. Same time, when you are using PySpark, so as much as you have depth in terms of PySpark, you will be able to optimize complete process very dynamic way, and everything is well automated also. So fine. So we are going to move further to understand that when we delete the rows or columns, something we do changes in the table, then how actually what kind of impact happens. See, it may be a bit time consuming process, but still this is a little less time consuming compared to when we have to handle hundreds of GB data, right? So certain part itself, it may take 1 hour time. So we cannot stay back for that much time because our objective is to just explore basics of Microsoft Fabric during this course. So, but some hint, some insights I'm telling about the data platforms, which is basically very much relevant to real time. Okay, fine. So we'll continue after 10 minutes. We'll take a break and we'll continue after 10 minutes. Okay. So thanks everyone. Let's connect, and continue after 10 minutes. Okay. Mahesh, are you there? Or Tony? Hi, Tony. Fine. So looks like we're getting busy, but we'll continue after 10 minutes. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Sorry, I'm a bit delayed. Okay, so I see some of the people have given a comment that okay, Janvi has currently entered into third year of my BTech. My goal is to become international. So to get this job, please suggest me what to prepare to land my job as a returner. So during this course, all the day we are discussing certain thing which is all about data analyst or cloud or data engineer. So, or data scientist or relevant part only we are discussing every day. And you are very much active, Janvi. I see from day one that very actively you are participating. So it's really good that you are passionate about learning things and try to know more. You will get to know more about these things in upcoming sessions next week. And already, whatever I have suggested you, that also you should just think about. Uh, but yeah, I will again discuss about it sometime, some moment. Another person, how China is so ahead, what is the reason behind it? How China is so ahead, what is the reason behind it? At what time the so okay. So okay, let me tell you one thing that this is not a part of our this session to discuss about this topic, but briefly I'll tell you since I have since we are discussing about technologies, but when it comes to discussing about the reason of this, it may be a bit different, but quickly I will tell you uh, because it may take if I try to explain about this part, it may take hours, but I'll not take that much time. Quickly, I'll tell you. See, and this is really important to understand. All the students, for all the people, actually, they should know whatever happens. It's not about China, but it's about anything happening around the globe. As a aware citizen, you should know that why our country is behind, why we are lagging in many things, why another country is uh, too good in terms of many technologies or many things. So it's a definitely awareness part which really helps when you are aware about information uh, about everything. So why you study, like just you can think like in your academics, why you study 10 years all the subject, right? Languages, social science, uh, physical science, technologies, many things you study for 10 years, mathematics, uh, too many things actually you study 10 years. Why? I mean, if it is just about only a particular objective, then it's fine. We should not study all this subject. Language is definitely for communication purpose. When it comes to social science, then what is the importance? But it's really very important to understand about the social stuff or geopolitical or geography. Everything is very important for everyone actually. So awareness and critically aware. So what happens as per our academics, it's not only about India, but majority of world, a schooling system is more or less similar. Similar, why similar? Because people are, when they come out from their academics, uh, education means something. Actually, you're bringing some values, right? You are, you know, you have some good values, right? From educations, you are getting some good values. So why that is not happening, even though after studying 10 years? Because we are actually running behind success that okay we have to get marks like 90%, 95%, 99%, but what is the actually value you are getting out of that? whether are you, very good in terms of any particular subject, practically, you can bring some good values from that subject practically. Most of the toppers also will find no. People who are getting 90-95%, you ask them some critical questions about, forget about other subject, mathematics. Probably that student might be getting 100, 95, 98 marks in maths. You just ask some critical questions about mathematics or science, uh, they might be not able to, do the good actually. I'm not telling about everyone, but the majority of students will not do something good in terms of critical scenarios. So reason is their objective is to just to get the marks, and it's about your academic syllabus. So whatever syllabus you study, on that only you can respond something. But the same subject, same concept, if somebody asks you some critical questions, you might be not able to respond. Not all, but I can tell you almost 90% students are like that only. 90 or 95% students are, even though they score 95%, 98%, they are like that only. So that is a one scenario. It's there in every part of world. Not every part of world. In some countries, definitely they have improved on this part. But rest of the world, you say, including Europe, US, most of the world, they're like that only. Objectively, just looking after objectives, but not critically. Not everyone is looking after critical thoughts or critical, mindset, or you can say scientific temperament. So that is not there in society. In large portion of the world, actually, you can find. So that is one of the critical factor when it comes to rest of the world. When it comes to China, so China is basically a theist country. So that is one of the most critical factor that their people are not thinking about many things in terms of religious values, religion and all, right? Or God or and all those things, right? But the rest of the world, if you see anywhere you go, Middle East, it's all about Allah and all. In India, you have all about Sanatan Dharma, Hindu, and all the actually religious people are here. All the religion you can find in India, right? Similarly, in Europe, you go, but still you can find the differences, and those differences actually emerged in 14th century. So one revolution happened in Italy, rebirth in Hindi, not Hindi, sorry, in another word you can say rebirth revolution. Exact name I'm forgetting, but that means actually rebirth revolution. So that one revolution given entire Europe, that revolution has turned entire Europe into thinking about science. So there is a reason actually in Europe, actually, you can see basically after 14th, 15th century, most of the scientific revolution happened in Europe. Innovation, discoveries, everything happened in Europe in after 14th, 15th centuries. But I mean, it's nothing to compare. Like, okay, what about India and all? Even Indian people were very good, but uh, they were not. They never had the basically large extent scientific temperament, even as of today. So that is the most critical factor. Any student, people who are into science background, they can understand. People are not thinking scientifically, or they don't have scientific temperament, right? So that is a critical factor. But now you see Europe, they had some revolutions which changed entire continent, and because those scientific revolution happened, French revolution happened, then colonialism, like they ruled almost half of the world, or almost you can say 75% of the world they ruled. And so certain things they did very good for the society, for humanity, but certain things they did very bad. So that is also there, right? So a lot of things happen. And altogether, if you see today, Europe is good uh, because mix of good and bad. But at least in their society, people have scientific temperament, uh, some extent, right? Even though you can say in China has better society in terms of scientific temperament, Japan has better society in terms of scientific temperament, but still Europe, is quite competitive. Their people are more scientific, they have more scientific temperament. But India, it's not there. That is the reason. Any scenario you go, anything you do, uh, here people doesn't have like accountability for anything, any policy government frame. They don't have accountability that if something goes wrong, they take accountability, they fix it. For example, I'll tell you one or two example, like road construction. So road construction, 100 years back, I mean more than 100 years back, technologies were discovered that using that technology, if you build a road, uh, that road is going to sustain for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years, I can tell you. It's on record, okay? And it's not like okay, just on the record and some discoveries and some society happen. It many part of the world, it is live example that once a road is constructed, you don't need to touch for next 50 years, that 70 years, 100 years, and it's going to work. That kind of road is there in India also. Sometimes like forget I mean those names and all, but that road is still there, which is actually sometimes I think even 200 years back somebody built, right? But today in your society, you live in Bangalore, Mumbai, anywhere, every 4 and 5 years, like for I'm living into one of the posh area in Bangalore. In my areas, what happens every 2 years, 3 years, in my cross, like in whichever area I'm living in my society, every 2, 3 years a road will be constructed again and again, like every 2, 3 years you know so why that is not required? So this is all based of money in terms of a scam, in terms of just organized loot. Nobody is going to even question, nobody is going to ask question that why every 2, 3 years these constructions are happening. Why not those monies are spent on something which is needed for various other things, right? Education, hospitals, healthcare, lot of things are there, right? So in our society, there is no accountability for anything. Just I told you one example, which can be fixed a long back. And as of today, also, it's not fixed in any state of India, I can tell you. More or less, it's the same. Some extent, it's better in South India, like Kerala or Tamil Nadu. Some estates you may find bit better in terms of these things. Some extent, I can tell you. But largely around India, it's very bad actually, very bad scenario. So this is one of the example I said. Like likewise, I can tell you at least dozens of example. Because of that, India or rest of the world is not better. In China, it's not like that. You see, their villages, their even countryside, anywhere you go, they have done such all sort of constructions or innovations in every field actually, agriculture to any technologies that rest of the world is literally mostly falling behind, or some countries like US basically in competition, right? So lot of things are there. So I'll not discuss more on that part. Really sorry, because I think somebody asked the question. I thought some you know at least something I should comment. So sorry to say, but yes, this is a reality. Okay, so thanks. Let's move on. For the as I said, like we need to. Uh, so here hotel bookings, right, and Now I'll go to report view. So, so now you can see the difference. So for example, when I click here region, okay, so we don't have number of fields. I'll just use just the count to showcase number of customers using ID. Yes. So this is a visual. I'll also put the number. So it's going to be visible. Yeah. So numbers are visible, right? And this is basically hotel bookings, right? And this is the table we are using. So now you see here everything. One second. Yeah. So here now you see the page refresh. This option you will not get when you are importing data from CSV or Excel file. Okay. You will get only when you are using SQL Server or any SQL database and all. Then you will be able to use this feature. So it's off as of now. I'm going to on it. So when I on, then you can see here few options. See here you have option in minutes, seconds, hours, and days, right? So you can use in seconds also, and number of seconds, minutes, days, everything you can mention. Just you need to select these units and then you can mention here. So I'll use the seconds and I'll use, let's say, 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds, uh, so both option you have auto page refresh, that is by default, it's coming, and when change detections. So this is another option you have. So any changes happens in table, that time it's going to refresh. Both option you have. So I'll just go for this auto page refresh in 5 seconds. Okay. Uh, so you can see these numbers, region and all. Okay, so we are going to update here. Let's say reason. For example, right? So I'm going to just update. Oh, north is there. Okay. It's updated. You can check now. Only north, right? Now go back to RBI. See, in the report, automatically here, it's showing only north. It's not showing other reason, right? So this is how actually it works. When you use, direct query, uh, you know, it's going to change. I mean, whatever here we have given, the refresh period, you can see under formatting, page refresh, 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds is going to update, refresh. So I did the changes and within 5 seconds, you can see the changes has been reflected here, right? So, this is how, I mean, this is a very well optimized in terms of like normal, like a small size of data or a small to mid-size data. You can use this approach when it comes to uh, using, SQL database and Power BI, then Power BI services and Fabric all together. So this is going to be one of the most optimized. Um, yeah, I mean, without coding. See, here we are not doing coding, but mostly just using drag and drop or almost no code, right? So this approach is the most optimized when you are not using coding, right? But you have further beyond optimization. That is where you need to reach. So those critical things are, as I said, okay, few things I told earlier, but let me tell you. See, creating a new column occupies more memory. So you should always avoid creating a new query unless it's required. You should avoid creating new column. So what else you can do? Basically, which can help, like in terms of metrics and calculation. So for metrics and calculation, we create columns also, right? So always avoid creating column. Use some measures. So here basically you have measure which occupies less memory. So always we should use measures which will help you to optimize your data, your report actually. Okay. When it comes to what we should perform here in Power BI and what you should perform into Power Query. Okay. So all sort of transformation basically again, uh, as much as you can avoid in terms of creating more new columns, you should avoid. Uh, Also, you can, try to remove if something is not also you should avoid in terms of creating, I mean, using the columns which is not actually uh, not required. Assume like a particular table, you have too many columns, right? But for reporting purpose, you might be not using all these columns, right? You might be using just a few. So whatever you use, that only you keep it, rest all you can remove it. So that is also going to optimize you know, a speed, like a refresh and all, refresh time is going to reduce. So that is how actually further actually we'll discuss when you have like PySpark and all. We are going to understand more in terms of how actually you are going to use increment load and also even we can use increment load here also. Uh, but commonly I will just use in one place. I'm going to use it in PySpark. So I'll explain the PySpark how it works in terms of ETL, normal, I mean, for general purpose, some important activities. But on top of that, we have one of the critical feature in either you are using data flow or Power Query or, programming like, PySpark or Python, even SQL. So incremental load is one of the most critical factor in terms of optimization. So what basically it does that assume that you have 500 GB of data, right? That is a historical data. Assume like for last 10 years, all the transactional data size is basically 500 GB. So one time you have to load into system in one lake, right? One lake you have to add one time. So it may take 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, depends. So that is the one part. First time you have to load it, whatever time it takes. Now, in that particular database, whatever changes happen. So assume that, we know that 500 GB is not transacted in one day or 1 month or 1 year, right? So in assume like if 500 GB data we got in last 10 years, then in 1 year, it may be just 50 GB, 40 GB, or 70 GB. Just depends. Like year on year, it may differ. It will differ. So just year on year, just it's around 50 to 70 GB or 80 GB. So day wise, like we need to get the fresh report every time, like every second or every hour, right? So every time when we see the report, we should see the latest information about the business, right? So thing is, whatever changes are happening, so existing data, it's not going to load again and again. Just understand the logic, and that is where actually rest other things you can uh, try to explore SQL in terms of partitioning data, why actually it's important. When various other things are there, like even views or procedure, whatever some advanced queries you have in SQL, why you should not use select queries. Uh, various things are there, which is about the optimization only. Okay. So when I said like in a year, if it is just a 50 to 70 GB data is fresh data is getting loaded. So it's not going to load remaining data. Whatever remaining data is there for 10 years, it's 500 GB. So 11th year, assume like 70 GB data has been transacted. So every day it may be assume like 700 MB or just a 500 MB, around 500 MB or less than little bit. So that is a transaction will happen every day. So loading data in terms of 500 MB, it will not take more than few seconds. Hardly it will take a few seconds or a minute or two, depends upon your bandwidth, I mean to say like memory and all, and infrastructure basically, your system configuration, right? So hardly it's going to take a minute or few seconds. So that approach, just one concept, incremental load, can optimize your data by saving almost 2 to 3 hours because when you load 300, 500 GB every time, it's taking 2 to 3 hours in terms of just loading. So when you use the refresh, every time it's going to take 2, 3 hours. So just if you use the incremental load, you can use in all the applications like in SQL also you can use in Python, you can use into Power Query. This is a data flow. But here also you have option to use. Same time you can use in PySpark also. So that is these are the some critical factors we have as a data engineer. You have to definitely focus because if you like definitely your interviewer is going to ask about this kind of question that how you are going to handle a large data set of like 500 GB or terabytes and all, right? So uh, definitely this is a one approach you can use. Uh, and then you have some other advanced SQL queries are there. So that is the absurd, some I'll tell you those queries also while going through, PySpark and further we are going to cover. So those are all those concepts is going to be quite advanced. I might be not using 500 GB because we don't have that much time. Like our over duration of the one session is 2 hours, so I cannot use 2 hours for just loading data only, right? So I will use a little less data only, but conceptually it's the same, whether it's a 500 GB or 1 GB, 2 GB, 5 GB, or let's say terabytes or petabytes. Concept is the same. Tool, tool to tool, like when you use PySpark, it processes differently when you use data flow, because data flow, and when you compare data flow and PySpark, both has huge difference in terms of architecture, in terms of processes. There is a huge difference. So what you can achieve using PySpark, you cannot think like, okay, it's going to be that much competitive using data flow. No, it's a very low level, tool in terms of like easy way you can handle everything for a small size of data. Okay, but when it comes to large data sets and all, definitely it's only PySpark or SQL. Only these tools you have applications you have to rely, and few things we are going to cover up advanced concept that we will explore next week. So starting from workload like data flow Gen 2 and exploring in terms of ETL, advanced ETL activities, not advanced, you can say like mid-level activities, including Python, PySpark, all those things. So we have 6 workloads. All these workloads, we are going to use it next week. So why I have covered all these tools this week, some basics to have some familiarity about, ecosystem. And next week, it's all going to be around workloads, uh, PySpark, Python, Spark SQL, little bit, beyond basics, you can say like mid-level. Yes. So these are things we are going to cover up next week. And then we have last day capstone project. So be passionate. Uh, I mean, uh, be patient and attend all the sessions. Definitely, it's going to be worthwhile. End of the actually 14th or 15th day, you'll have basics like a head. You can definitely head a start with your Microsoft Fabric. So I'll just look into some comments and then yeah. Okay, so when it comes to attendance related things, you can check with Tony. You can just tag him. Yeah, it's most of things related to attendance. See, nothing is very simple. When you are talking about fabric, data frame, data platform, or any technical application or tool, it's not that easy. When actually you want to make career in. Okay, every technology is it has its own like challenges, difficulties. Some sort of things may be quite easy. A lot of things may be very critical. So technology means not easy. Don't think technological things is going to be like when you work as a developer or problem solver. Then you don't need to think like, okay, it's going to be easy. You should think it should be difficult, and you should be problem solver. Whatever challenges, whatever issues you are getting, have passion to solve those problems. It takes time. Uh, so it's not like, okay, within 15 days you will be expert in Fabric or any tool. I can tell you, none of the tool actually you can expertise in just 15 days. It takes months, years to be expert in any application. So you're just starting with this, Microsoft Fabric in 15 days. Further, you have a lot of things to do. I'm going to guide you. And Janvi, I'm going to again discuss about data analyst, things like probably 14th or 15th day. Again, we'll discuss in detail. Okay. Thanks, everyone. It's over to you, Tony.
Yes, thank you. So, all right, everyone, that's a wrap for today's sessions. So, we are really sorry for yesterday's confusion. So, don't worry, your attendance, those who are marked there, sure it's smart. And a big thank you to Mr. Kanaya Kumar for another wonderful session. Sir, thank you for your explaining the concept so clearly and making today's session so interactive. And thank you to all the participants for joining us today. Stay till the end and actively participating throughout the session. We really appreciate your support. So, yeah, the feedback form has been shared. Please take a minute to fill it out. Uh, we will be back again Monday. So, that's all from our side. Have a great evening. Take care and have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, everyone. Bye. See you on Monday. Take care.